Cleveland electric once again as the #1 seeded Cavaliers try to even this best-of-7 series before the fun goes to Indianapolis. And what a start to the second round of the NBA postseason. All lower seeds striking first and taking the home court advantage in game one. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Cleveland. Alongside Greg Anthony, I'm Spiro Ditas. We will begin with the big injury news for Kenny Atkinson and the Cavaliers. And for the very latest, we check in with Jared Greenberg.
Well, Spiro, Kenny Atkinson wants his team to play with force, focus, and energy. But tonight they'll have to do it without three key rotational players, including the Defensive Player of the Year. Evan Mobley out after spraining his ankle here. No foul called on Miles Turner as he stepped in the landing zone. He's been seen limping today and yesterday and unable to put full weight on that foot. DeAndre Hunter went up hard for this slam. Also, a clean block on Ben Mathurin, but Hunter dislocated his shooting thumb. He is out. You add Darius Garland to the injury list as well. He remains out his fourth straight with a sprained big left toe, guys. This is going to be an interesting way. Donovan Mitchell saying he's not going to try and play like a superhero, but guys, he may have to go find that cape.
Indeed, as we take a look at the starters. So we'll be Ty Jerome, again, a finalist for the 6th Man of the Year, and Dean Wade, who did start 30 games during the regular season. But, man, they were hoping to get Darius Garland back. Not only is he still out, GA, now you're without Mobley, your anchor, and Hunter, who's been so huge. How do they recover and play tonight?
Well, you've got to rely on who you've been all season long. This is the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Now it's an opportunity for other guys to step up and put their imprint on this game. You know your best players are going to have to get it done, but they need to do this by committee and just get back to playing Cleveland Cavaliers basketball.
And let's just take a moment to appreciate the scene in this building. Better than 19,000. It is a sea of white. The Pacers handled the pressure. It was unbelievable, GA. They blew that double-digit lead in the third quarter the other night. Cleveland had the place jumping. Donovan Mitchell got his game going, and then the Pacers responded again. In a road environment like this, it was something to watch.
Their poise in that second half was impressive. Keep in mind, though, this league is oftentimes a first-quarter league. And let's see who can get off to a good start. Remember, +11 were the Pacers after the first quarter in game one.
Tony Brothers, David Guthrie, Nick Booker, our terrific officiating crew, and that is Tyrese Halliburton picking up where he left off. He was 22 and 13 assists in the opener.
And he does it within the confines of their system. And some might say that he is their system because of his style of play.
How does Donovan Mitchell handle the scoring burden tonight? Well, encouraging start for the Cavs.
Yeah, he's going to have to be aggressive offensively, but I felt like they just didn't move the basketball very well in that first game. As you see, Miles Turner able to knock down that little mid-range jumper. And offensively, it's going to be important, but I really feel like their defense is going to have to be infinitely better than it was the last game.
Mitchell misfires on a 3. Remember, he struggled from deep in game 1, just 1 of 10 from the 3-point line. Pascal Siakam, bit of a mismatch, and then it's Jerome able to collapse with the help. Mitchell on the attack, brings out. Kept alive underneath. This is Jerome probing Allen. Or they need a big night from all of these other players.
And early on here, you expect Mitchell to be aggressive.
Nesmith.
This is where their issue was. When they had offense where there wasn't a lot of ball movement, where they didn't move the defense from side to side, it created a lot of opportunities. You're going to get Max Strus there with an offensive foul on that illegal screen.
Max Strus pleads his case. Boy, how good was Aaron Nesmith the other night? GA hit 4 threes in that game. As we take another look, and you can see a little bit of a lead from Strus.
And that's an easy call there. They're not going to allow you to get outside of your shoulder width when you're setting those screens, especially in the open floor.
Indiana won game 1 on the strength of their 3-point shooting. Can that hot continue for them as Nesmith misses in the corner? Indiana was 19 of 36 in game 1, GA, nearly a 53% clip. Allen, pass. Finish beautifully set up by Strus.
And really set up by Mitchell. If you dive there by Allen creates it.
Neesmith able to beat Jerome with the step. Neesmith, the force, missed everything.
That possession we did not see a lot of defensively in game one. That was a great job of not allowing the Pacers to dictate.
Mitchell Euro stepping in the help defense by Turner, who has been among the elite shot blockers in the NBA for the last 9 years. There's Rick Carlisle. Boy, he's been through this kind of party so many times in his career. Unfazed. Felt really good about what his teams did in game one, but that look just never changes. Poked away. Turner showing some of his defensive abilities. Here's Andrew Nembhard again, magnificent the other day. Here's Neesmith. So Aaron Neesmith now one of his first three from deep.
Yeah, you talked about they were electric from deep in game one, getting off to a little bit of a slower start here.
Nembhard the takeaway. Jerome thought he was bumped. Siakam open floor. And Donovan Mitchell's going to put him at the free throw line, his first. So already you can sense the frustration in the building from that Cavaliers bench. Jerome pleads his case. We heard the press conference before the game. Kenny Atkinson talking about some of the non-calls the other night. Can they get their composure settled, GA? So take another look.
Yeah, I was surprised that Kenny Atkinson and staff felt like the game was overly physical. I thought it was a typical postseason game. You see Kenny Atkinson being the coach of the year this year. He did a phenomenal job. But this is the first real adversity that this group has faced, not having three of your core components playing tonight. And you can see early, the ball's not moving. There's still a lot of attacks by Mitchell and by Tyler Jerome. They're not forcing the Pacers to move defensively. And I think that's going to work to their detriment if it doesn't change.
Darius Garland didn't miss a ton of games this year. Played 75 games most of his career. Last year, in games that they were without both Mobley and Garland, Cleveland went 14-4. So they've been here before. Have they handled things tonight? Unleashed!
They're going to get a delay of game there, but that was an impressive attack. And the reason that happens is because the ball moves. When you shift eyes and shift bodies, it creates opportunities for you offensively.
Siakam out to Nembhard, catch and shoot. A little bit too much. So the Pacers 1 of 4 from deep.
Well, the Pacers, the ball's not popping like we saw at the start of game one. Credit that, I think, somewhat to how Cleveland's come out defensively.
Mitchell tripped up. The officials are going to get Nembhard in the corner. And Donovan Mitchell playing with fire in his belly here at the start.
Yeah, and similar to what we saw in game one, he was relentless on his attack at the rim. He was really efficient there. He just struggled with the three-point ball, as did the entire Cavs team. But he found his way into the teeth of that defense time and time again in game one.
Well, they gets the big shooting night from Strus, and he bangs in a three.
And that is what was missing. They came into game one leading the postseason in three-point shooting as a team. It just was not there in game one.
Max Strus, last 2 games, going back to the Heat series, just 3 of 15 from deep. Shot clock at 3, Halliburton, Nembhard, that's a deep 3, barely gets rim. And it's out of bounds to the Cavs.
Well, you can see already, though, the difference of intensity defensively from the Cavs. They're not allowing the Pacers to move the ball with quickness.
Ty Jerome looking for some early offense. A little bit of chatter about the number of shots, GA, that he had in game one. He took 20 shots. Traveling violation against Nembhard.
And Kenny Atkinson talked about it. He said, you know, he didn't feel like his point guards could combine for 50 shots. I don't think it's the amount of shots. I think their shot quality was not great in game one, meaning their ball movement wasn't terrific. Their offense didn't create a lot of offense. It was a lot of self-willing. And I think they've got to get away from that and have a little more trust in their teammates.
Donovan Mitchell right around Halliburton, just couldn't put it down. Halliburton on the run. One of their first fast break opportunities, sets the table. This is Turner. The rebound for Wade. One of the reasons Atkinson wanted to plug in Wade tonight, his ability to rebound and defend with some of that length. Mitchell starting to tee off against this defense, stripped out of bounds by Turner, and everyone's going to catch their breath. Early stages in Cleveland. The Pacers trying to take a stranglehold lead in the series.
Chuck, I think we can produce this segment without the people upstairs.
I agree, Kenneth.
So don't forget to download the FanDuel Sports app. It's the best place for all live betting and same-game parlays, and it pays out instantly. And who wins tonight, the Pacers or the Cavs?
I'll go with the Cavs.
See, we did not need a director or producer for this.
Good to have Kenneth and Slim weigh in from Atlanta. We saw some of the injured pieces for the Cavaliers. As Sam Merrill now is inserted for the first time tonight for Kenny Atkinson. Here comes Strus, contact, and they're going to put him at the free throw line. So Donovan Mitchell, quick start. Jared, I understand you spent some time with Mr. Mitchell earlier this morning. What did you find out?
Yeah, knowing that Garland, Mobley, and Hunter would all be out tonight, Donovan told me that he is not approaching tonight's game as if he has to score 70 points to try to win. Now, in years past, he said he got caught up in scoring. This year, Mitchell said it's been about uplifting his teammates, reflecting on some of the Jazz. Mitchell felt like he actually believed in himself too much to the point that it would inhibit him from making simple plays. But guys, that doesn't mean Mitchell won't be aggressive tonight. 2 minutes of this game, he's already taken 6 shots.
He has wasted no time, but can he? A little bit, and everything worked to perfection during the regular season. Now the injuries, how does Mitchell navigate all of that?
It's going to be important, but I tell you, this stretch here with all of the substitutions in also equally as important, because it was when they went to the bench in game 1, the Pacers, that they start to really create some separation. And let's see if they can be the Cavs a little more connected defensively here to start.
TJ McConnell into the game. You saw the drought for the Pacers. Turner, hard fake. And the officials are going to get Allen on a reach-in foul. The NBA on TNT is brought to you by the Kia Telluride X-Line. Kia, official automotive partner of the NBA. So 7 straight for the Cavs. Indiana, Greg has missed 6 straight shots, and we kind of wondered, how will they perform against this Cleveland team when those 3-point shots aren't falling? And this is one of those stretches right now.
I think the bigger thing too, Spiro, is they haven't gotten their running game going. And credit the Cavs. You notice that they're not creating a lot of offense off the pass. There's a lot more dribbling to start this game from the Pacers. That's not necessarily the strength of their offense.
Both teams struggling from the field. Cavaliers 4 of their first 13. As Benedict Mathurin biting on that little fake against Strus. Indiana is 3 of 11 shooting and 1 of 6 from deep.
Yeah, and that possession right there is indicative of what they've got to do. You saw the early hedge out double on Ty Jerome. Instead of holding on to it, immediately moves it to Allen, who finds Strus, and then that creates the foul there. They need more of that. They got to play where the ball moves from strong to weak side more of their possessions, because that's where you find the cracks in this Pacers defense.
Mathurin picks up his second in less than 2 minutes. And Merrill rips one from deep. Cavaliers now 2 of their first 5 from the 3-point line. Turner lead pass, Halliburton. That ball movement like a hot potato for the Pacers. They just can't shoot straight at the start. Toppin.
One of the other adjustments I really like from the Cavs, they've gone with a Okoro on TJ McConnell, who is a much better defender, especially against a crafty player like McConnell.
Halliburton threads the needle up top, and then Turner's pass for Toppin too high. That transition that was so surgical in game 1, just a little bit off kilter here at the start for the Pacers. Beautiful pass. This is Okoro underneath, and he lays it in.
Just another good decision by Ty Jerome. You get a timeout here from Rick Carlisle. Cavs got this place rocking. time for greatness on the court, fueled by Gatorade. And one of the adjustments, they've run their offense a little more through Jared Allen. They're making him a decision maker, and he has come through here early. You see, nice read here on that lob inside to Okoro. They've done a much better job of not trying to beat you with the dribble, but making you guard the pass.
They've also made an adjustment that you noticed with their defense. What have you seen from the Cavs defensively?
The initial thrust, they haven't allowed them to get out and run to the corners, and they forced them to then have to put the ball on the floor to try to create better spacing, and they've extended. I love using Okoro more. He's probably their best perimeter defender, and so they utilize him on McConnell. Now he's going to get the task with Halliburton.
Boy, Nembhard crafty, finding some daylight underneath. First field goal in more than 6 minutes for the Pacers.
And one thing, if you're the Cavs, too, make the Pacers a two-point team. Don't allow them all that spacing and ball movement where they can pick you apart and shoot threes.
Here comes Allen trying to cock it back and throw it down. He's going to get to the free throw line. Boy, he was so good. Such crazy efficiency in that first-round sweep against the Heat. A series in which basically everyone was playing out of their minds, but he is such a valued piece here for this Cleveland team, especially on a night like tonight. Don't miss a playoff moment with the NBA app. Get the latest scores, highlights, and behind-the-scenes access to all the drama. Download the NBA app today, powered by Microsoft.
And you talked about it. The thing that they're doing, the Pacers are extending their defense a little more with Mitchell and Ty Jerome, and credit Mitchell and Jerome making the early feed to Jared Allen, who has made a lot of good plays here in terms of his decision-making in the half court.
Nembhard trying to get Merrill onto his back, chisels his way into the paint, misses back of the rim. Thomas Bryant has checked in for Rick Carlisle and grabs the offensive rebound. Andrew Nembhard poked away, and Tony Brothers says it belongs to the Cavs.
I tell you what, he's not the defensive player of the year this year, but Jared Allen is a difference maker defensively, edging out there on the pick and roll, rim protection, communication. He is doing it all here for the Cavs.
Pacers have as many field goals as turnovers so far, as we are under the 4-minute mark in the first quarter. Shepherd trying to defend Mitchell. Mitchell stops on a dive to spin the fake. Offensive brilliance from Donovan Mitchell.
And that's an advantage the Cavs have that the Pacers don't. They've got a guy that can consistently win one-on-one matchups against great defense, and that's an example of it there. Such a luxury to have in these hotly contested postseason games.
The offensive genius of his game for a guy hits the body control. Greg, it just leaves you breathless sometimes watching this guy perform, especially under the bright lights of the NBA postseason.
He's tall, but he's really wide, and he's got tremendously long arms, and that width gives him great leverage. Charles Barkley was a player like that, was only 6 leverage with the width of that body, and made it really.
I think Chuck would appreciate that insight.
Yeah, he's a little wider now than he used to be, but
that was uncalled for.
No.
Jared Allen, meantime, just picks up his second personal GA, so that's kind of a big deal. You see with Bryant, they get entangled off the ball.
And they expect
Allen is going to sit.
Yeah, and listen, he was probably going to come out at this stretch anyway. He's gone almost 9 minutes. They knew he wasn't going to play 48, and they also expected to go small with Wade at the 5 for stretches.
What a difference in Cleveland's defense, creating tempo and controlling the pace so far as Toppin with a snatch. 7-point Cavs lead. Obi Toppin gave Rick Carlisle some really solid minutes in game 1. Here comes McConnell. Nembhard. Travel.
See the point of attack defense, though. To start in this first quarter, their point of attack defense, the Cavs, infinitely better than we saw in game 1. You don't see the Pacers able to consistently get 2 feet in the paint, where you have to force help and then you can put the Cavs in rotation.
So back-to-back turnovers, now 6 committed by the Pacers. Donovan Mitchell, 6 points already. On the attack to the rim. And more free throws forthcoming. And now Mitchell a little bit late to get to his feet. The officials get Toppin. Well, that's the last thing that this crowd wants to see.
And remember, Mitchell's also dealing with a bit of a calf strain. So you can see they're agonizing a little bit. But I like the strategy. You notice he knows he hadn't had the feel from 3. But tonight, he's not reliant upon it. You saw 11 attempts in that first game. He's only taken 1 here thus far. Everything's been about getting to the front of the rim.
And you alluded to it earlier, you know, the evolution of his game, pulling back on the reins a little bit, empowering his teammates. Now, in this set of circumstances, no Mobley, no DeAndre Hunter, no Garland. Do you expect Mitchell to try to take the game over at times?
I think he has an ability to take the game over without having to take 30 shots. And so if you look around our league, there's certain guys that can control a game. I think Halliburton's one of them. He does it differently. He controls it with the pass. And I think if you're Donovan Mitchell, you've got to balance that. He's got to create a lot more opportunities for this group because they don't have a lot of guys that can create space on their own. It's going to be reliant upon his talent to do that for this group.
Jarris Walker has checked in now for Rick Carlisle. 13-4 run by Cleveland. Underneath McConnell, setting the table for Siakam.
Yeah, that's a really good job by McConnell. Understanding the importance of just putting pressure on that rim, forcing the help, and then creating that opportunity.
Mitchell to the rack, and Nesmith, who is really as good as you can expect in his primary defense of Donovan Mitchell in game 1. Able to get the clean strip.
Yeah, even though the Pacers like to get out and run, they have some dogs on the defensive side. Nesmith, Nembhard, these are guys, Mathurin, they get after it defensively.
Javonte Green into the game for the first time in the series. He didn't play the other night. Mitchell 3 to shoot, up to the rim, and boy, he's taking some punishment. Officials are going to get Siakam as Mitchell will take his 4th and 5th free throws of the quarter. First personal on Siakam.
Remember, 9 free throw attempts in game 1, already going to be up to 5 here. And it's the other thing about attacking the rim, it forces help and it also gives you much better floor balance for your defensive transition. So getting to the line, getting to the rim, it gives you a much better chance to slow that Pacers offense down.
Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today and make every playoff moment mean more on America's #1 sportsbook. Donovan Mitchell, 8th on the all-time playoff scoring list. Just unbelievable numbers, nearly 28 per game. But again, the only question at this point, can he get this team on a deep run? He's never been past this round of the playoffs. That 1 year as a 1 seed with the Utah Jazz. Is this the year where they're up against it tonight? Down 1-0 and missing some key pieces. Crowd wanted to travel and they wanted to push. Walker from deep, well short. At last touch by Siakam.
I tell you what, their defense is making the Pacers offense defensive. They really are struggling. They're on their heels right now, a little unsure of how they want to attack in the half court.
Merrill, yes. The Cleveland Cavaliers on a 23-6 run with 1:18 left. Boy, the craziness of the NBA playoffs. How good the Pacers looked in game 1 tonight. Cleveland seems like missing half their team. No Mobley, no Garland, no Hunter. And look at how good they've been so far.
Yeah, their sense of urgency, that point of attack defense, and the ability to control the transition has been on display here in the first quarter.
So we hit the final 60 seconds of the quarter. Shot clock at 5. McConnell looking for some daylight. But that defense from the suffocating. Another turnover.
This is where your game plan discipline comes into play. They with this second unit to get into the paint, and they have done a terrific job of really not allowing him to dictate the possession with the dribble.
Mathurin, who picked up 2 really quick fouls. He's been on the bench most. Comes back with him. Okoro from deep. Offensive rebound, Wade. Mitchell, extra feed. Unreal. Here comes Mathurin on the push. Final 30-plus seconds. This is Bryant on the box. Javonte Green with the interception.
This is just a completely different team.
Merrill, he buries it.
You always want to see how your team handles adversity, and give the Cavs a lot of credit here in this first quarter.
Here in Cleveland, the script has been flipped. The Cavaliers throw the first punch. Try to even this best-of-7 series. The NBA playoffs presented by Google. Time now for Play Your Own Way, presented by PayPal. What an offensive start for the Cavs. And Donovan Mitchell right at the epicenter, as he always is. A couple of seconds ago, Jared Greenberg with Rick Carlisle.
Coach, with the Cavs missing 3 key rotation players, what are the adjustments that your team needs to make?
Well, right now, this is the power of hard play, and they're the ones that are carrying the day.
8 first-quarter turnovers. What will be your message to your team on how to clean that up?
We got to play harder. We got to play with more force.
All right, thanks, Coach. Guys.
All right, not the start to the quarter Rick Carlisle was looking for, as Dean Wade, who makes the start tonight, his 31st start of the season in place of the injured Evan Mobley, builds on their lead. Here comes Siakam. Big shot for the Pacers.
Yeah, they just need to see the ball go through the basket, something easy. And Donovan Mitchell, though, has been in control of this game. He is dictating right now. 4 assists already. He had 4 assists the entire game 1. So he has been doing everything to get this Cavs offense kick-started.
TJ McConnell trying to force the issue. No whistle. 10th Pacers turnover already. Tyrese Halliburton still on the bench for Rick Carlisle to begin the second, with McConnell handling the point. Donovan Mitchell, the orchestrator. Wade from deep. Offensive rebound, Merrill. Strus will pull. Boy, Wade getting extra possessions for the Cavs.
He has been incredible this game. He's won so many possessions.
Boy, and finally the Pacers able to track down a rebound. Well, can Indiana weather the storm? A team that really developed into one of the top road teams in the league this season. Looking for some offense and try to get calibrated now at this end of the floor. McConnell.
He's able to knock that down, but what I love is you see Halliburton there is they're going through their veteran. Siakam, last few possessions, he's kind of settled them down. They've gotten much better shots here in this quarter.
Couple of minutes gone by in the second. Good movement, Strus in the corner. Good rotations by the Pacers. Strus to reset Merrill. He's got to work quickly. 2 to shoot. Elevates. Long rebound, McConnell. Good for some mates. Pulls up, free throw line jumper, and hits.
And that is one of the few times where TJ McConnell has been able to get where he wants. Kenny Atkinson wants to squash that momentum. 6-0 run here by the Pacers.
Time now for Fight for Victory, presented by Modelo. Conference semis going back to 83 and 84. You see what the road team has done. First Golden State, Minnesota coming up. Game 1 of that series next on TNT. Indiana showing some life, GA, for the first time in a couple of minutes.
And they need it. Their offense has just been disjointed. They've been rattled a little bit in terms of how they attack, and credit the Cavs for kind of setting the tone defensively. You heard Rick Carlisle talk about it.
Tyrese Halliburton still on the bench. Back Strus working towards the corner. And buries another three.
There's no doubt this Cavs team, they look about a half step quicker than we saw in game 1. A lot more confident.
Craig Porter Jr., second year undrafted player out of Wichita State, has come into the game for the Cavs. Neesmith into the corner, Mathurin with a little fake, got Merrill to bite. I believe Mathurin had cleared the three-point line. Indeed, he did. And so free throws forthcoming here for the Pacers.
You know, we talked in game 1 how the Pacers are as good as anybody in the league at using their offense to create offense. That hasn't been the case here tonight. They have not been able to dictate, and they have struggled to create great looks in the half court.
So Benedict Mathurin, as Halliburton still resting on that Indiana bench. Mathurin, career year in terms of his shooting numbers this season. Guy that they took with a lottery pick back in 2022, 6th overall pick. Trying to cut into the deficit here. Early stages, second quarter. And is up 1-0 in the series.
And this is a game with the Cavs 3 bodies short, and you having a strength being your bench. You on the bench, you've got to be able to cut into this lead to give yourselves a great opportunity in the second half.
Here against Indiana. So the lead, which are as we cross the 9-minute mark, quarter 2. Allen trying to create some space, hounded by Bryant. Off the hands of Porter, turnover. McConnell, Porter. Boy, excellent defensive recovery as he takes away a layup from McConnell.
That's an impressive play by Porter. Off a live ball turnover, just doesn't quit on the play. And how about the timing to come up with that block? But that was the best defensive possession we have seen from the Pacers. They really extended the defense, didn't allow the Cavs to get into their offense as they come back with their starters.
One thing Rick Carlisle touched on in our conversation with him before the game, he said, you know, we do a lot of self-scouting, and one thing we know, it's no secret, when Tyrese Halliburton doesn't score a good amount of points, their win percentage has really dipped. Halliburton so far has only taken 1 shot, 2 points. Pascal Siakam didn't take his first shot till basically the last minute of the first quarter. As we get a little bit of a delay here, crowd getting restless.
But that also speaks to them not executing offensively, because they're not a team that just relies on winning one-on-one battles. They rely on their offense and their execution, and the Cavs have done a great job of not allowing that to be the case here in the first half.
So Mathurin missed the layup at one end, and then Strus off target. Boy, Tyrese Halliburton was a little bit hobbled behind the play. Looks like he's clutching in his left hand. What a big developing story this could be, is Halliburton in clear pain, and he may have to come out of the game. Miles Turner, meantime, is going to shoot free throws as the athletic trainer is summoned for Indiana.
He's trying to shake that off. Boy, that would be a massive loss. He doesn't seem like he wants to come out, though.
So it looks like Halliburton is going to stay on the floor. Hard to see from that vantage point as Turner hits on both. So they've cut it to 12 as we come up on 8 minutes left in the quarter.
The defense has definitely gotten better here for the Pacers.
Ty Jerome still looking for his first points. He's 0-3 shooting into the paint. Little hip pocket pass to set up Allen. And the Cavs are going to take their 10th and 11th free throws of the half.
And I think Ty Jerome is doing a much better job. Now, he took 20 shots in game one, but it's the playmaking and decision-making that's improved. He's being more patient and not just settling. And I think that's really important for their offense.
As we take a little peek at the upcoming playoff schedule, TNT tomorrow will have a couple of game twos. What a start to that series for the Knicks. As
How about
they go
both
to
those
Boston.
games last night?
Unbelievable.
And man, those were incredible.
Denver, OKC, NBA.com or the NBA app for the complete playoff schedule. Boy, it is hoop heaven right now. This time of year with the NBA playoffs starting to cook. Andrew Nembhard fights his way into the paint. Reset Turner. Boy, Porter making his presence. Don't and then the steal.
How about the activity level from the Cavs? Porter Jr. doing a terrific job. Of the Pacers.
Boy, Ken Halliburton, only his second field goal, 13-point game. Good movement into the corner. This is Porter Jr. He will fire. And the rebound controlled by Indiana, Halliburton. But again, the Cavs able to get back. Turner on the box. Doubled up. They get it to Toppin. Rims out, the tip by Turner, no. Strus clears. Here comes Jerome trying to get Halliburton on his hip. This is short. Okoro had it, knocked away by Nembhard. Pacers looking to push. Mathurin from deep.
They're not knocking shots down, but they're getting better looks here.
Miles Turner on a deep shot.
Yeah, they are definitely doing a better job of trying to force the pace, and I think it starts with their defense. They are definitely picking up their intensity on that end.
Ty Jerome misses badly. Tapped out by Toppin, and Nembhard tracks it down. So we come up on the midway point of the quarter. Indiana has chipped away at what was a 20-point Cleveland lead. It's down to 10. Whistle blown off the ball. Tony Brothers. Looks like it's going to be off ball against the Cavs. So Isaac Okoro whistled for his first, trying to deny the low post to Turner.
Yeah, not a ton there. You expect to see that level of physicality on the block, but the good news is you're allowed to get Donovan Mitchell back into the game because the Pacers now starting to get a little rhythm offensively.
Turner turns and easily is able to shoot over the top. So Miles Turner back-to-back field goals, and we got an 8-point game. Can the Cavs get their offense reheated? 8 straight for Indiana. Jerome into the paint. Floater. Doesn't get the bounce. Strus.
How about the effort there by Strus? He read that miss. Able to get in and get the offensive rebound, and that was a much-needed basket here for the Cavs.
Boy, Turner may have been a little jersey tug from the bench, but it's another Indiana turnover. What a play by Strus, and then the finish by Allen.
And it's those 50-50 balls, the extra possessions. You saw Strus there. We saw Wade earlier, keeping possessions alive.
Max Strus. He has been deadly tonight. And the Cleveland Cavaliers answering the bell here in game 2.
Trainer Carl Eaton wrapping up that left wrist, and while the trainer was talking with Halliburton, he appeared to be in some discomfort there with that wrist, but he remains on the court, guys.
All right, so good news, at least so far, for Halliburton and the Pacers. If you've just joined us, Indiana was down 20 points earlier in the half, but boy, they're making their push. Aaron Nesmith, who was sensational in game one, 17 points. He hit 4 threes, and he's cut it to 10. Strus.
Okay, we have seen this type of shooting exploit from the Cavs before. They have been lights out from deep.
Max Strus already his 4th 3 of the half as Halliburton answers and goes glass.
And keep in mind, only 9 made threes in game one, already 8 here in the first half.
Donovan Mitchell still struggling from deep. And now it looks like maybe a shot clock issue. I don't believe Mitchell's 3 hit the rim. I believe they reset the shot clock, but we'll have to take another look here. So it looks like they're going to adjust the shot clock here with Nick Booker at the table talking to the score operators.
Actually, it was above 14, so I think it looks like they're going to keep it where it is.
So we come up on the 4-minute mark before the half. Max Strus. Mitchell against Nembhard. Boy, that lightning quick first step.
But I like how they're utilizing Donovan. He's been a much more willing passer here, getting his teammates involved, forcing the Cavs to have to think a little bit more how they attack.
Aaron Nesmith, that slight little hesitation. Got his defender in the air, and free throws coming up for Indiana.
And the difference on that possession, he's not facing a loaded defense because of the ball movement. Now you're not in a position to bring the help. Just good execution offensively to create some space for your best player.
So Aaron Nesmith, first free throws of the night for the 5th-year player. First couple of years with Boston, then the trade summer of 22. Able to knock down the first. The NBA on TNT is brought to you by Hyundai. Customer assurance, putting people first when affordability matters most. What a player he's become. We asked Rick Carlisle about Nesmith. Said he just can't put enough value on guys who can defend on the wing, shoot. He talked about when they first got him, he showed up and went to the team. He was 2 years into his career, heading into year 3, and he told them he wanted to play on their summer league team. And it was the first indicator of the kind of player he is.
Yeah, his character on display there. And the other thing, he's really improved with the decision making and the anticipation example there defensively.
First turnover of the quarter committed by Cleveland. Siakam, Nembhard wide open. Won't get a better look than that. And this thing is down to single digits.
And that's been a few times now where Siakam's had a post up and the Cavs have fallen asleep and lost cutters.
But that thing kept alive initially by Allen. And there's Mitchell taking contact.
Dean Wade again. How about the offensive rebounding from the Cavs here? Even though they're shorthanded, their effort and hustle, and then a great read there by Wade and cut by Mitchell for the deuce.
Already 6th free throw of the night for Mitchell. 16 points. Again, fighting through some three-point woes. He's 0 of 3 from deep. But it has had very little effect on his motor here in game 2. 12-point game as we cross the 3-minute mark. Halliburton doing his dance, fakes. Turner, 2 to shoot. Allen. Suffocating defense.
Again, another example where they cannot break down the defense. And this is a team that is not built on individual ISO plays. Rick Carlisle talked about it before the game. They're not that kind of team. They really rely on execution and their ability to get into the paint to create spacing and opportunity.
This is Merrill. Short arm, boy, Dean Wade again flying it in for a potential offensive rebound as it belongs to Indiana. With 2:23 left in this first half.
We've talked about Dean Wade. 6 rebounds already in this game, a steal. He's played terrific defense as well.
Percentage now is up to 48%. Little weave action. Sizes up Allen, creeps into the paint, fades away off the spin. Tough shot. That's Halliburton's first miss in 4 attempts.
That was impressive. Up on that play there. That was an impressive finish by Mitchell.
Andrew Nembhard with a silencer.
And his poorly in stretches as the Pacers have played. 12-point game. They're still within striking distance.
A little bit of contact, no whistle. Clean play by Turner. Siakam going to get him reset. Turner, excellent position underneath. He had Merrill sealed off. And the immediate recognition. So this is going to put Turner at the free throw line.
And you can see he sees Neesmith there. And there's a little bit of a push with his left hand. And in that last foul there, you can see just a great job of Turner being big.
So penalty situation for the remaining minute 20 of the half. And Miles Turner, 7 postseason with the Pacers, one of 6 players in the history of the franchise to play 10 years or more with Indiana. 1 of 2 at the line, 11-point game, 70 seconds. Mitchell elevates, desperately trying to find his 3-point stroke. He's now 0 for 4.
Been one of the things that's allowed the Pacers to kind of hang in there. He has not found that rhythm from deep.
Cavaliers are out of fouls. Halliburton working against Allen. Jab stepping. Nembhard open, catch and shoot, well short. Turner from deep. Big shot for the Pacers. And here comes Indiana again. As Tony Brothers blows the whistle. As Indiana getting a little bit closer here in Cleveland.
Yeah, not a good foul there by Nembhard. Actually, I take that back. I thought there were free throws there, so that ends up being a good foul because he was playing downhill there. And you just talked about, listen, the Pacers this quarter, offensively, they've been terrific. 34 points thus far they put up here, so they found their rhythm and got back to playing Pacers ball.
Donovan Mitchell taking their breath away here in Cleveland. Halliburton, little body bumping. He's going to shoot free throws.
Donovan Mitchell, he has not been able to find the range from 3, but at the rim, he has been dynamic. Not a lot you're going to do with that if you're Pascal Siakam.
There are moments watching him play on a basketball court, GA, where you just throw your head back. One of the elite stars in the sport. Under the bright lights of the playoffs as Halliburton misfires on the first.
You get this one, though, and as incredible a talent as he is, again, still not finding that range. Only 1 of 15 thus far in this series from 3, but he has been incredible from 2 all series thus far. Now, though, if you're the Pacers, can you get this under 10 with this free throw and then try to get a stop and build some momentum going into the half?
Jarris Walker comes in for Rick Carlisle. Siakam sits. Didn't look like Siakam was pleased to sit. 21.8 left before the break. So a 9-point game. Tyrese Halliburton has 8. Donovan Mitchell, meantime, has hit for the last 9 points for Cleveland. Indiana is out of fouls. Mitchell, 4 seconds lead. Bounce Allen. And Tony Brothers blows the whistle, so contact a little bit low. And that's going to put Jared Allen at the free throw line.
Yeah, that was a great read. And you could say they had 3 guys on Mitchell there. They rotate early. And then Jared Allen couldn't really get his leverage to go up strong, but you see the hole there.
So Bryant whistled for his first. Biggest takeaway, GA, for you in this first half?
I thought the defensive prowess in that first quarter from Cleveland. I thought that really set the tone. And I remember you talk to a lot of NBA coaches, they'll tell you that first quarter oftentimes determines how the game's going to be played, who's going to be in control of that. And the Cavs showed a lot, being shorthanded, coming out, making a statement, holding them to 15 points. Now, having said that, they give up 35 in that second, and the Pacers have to feel pretty good about being right back in this thing.
So Allen converts under 3 seconds. Baseball pass Siakam, trying to get a clean look. And that's going to get us to halftime here in Cleveland. The Cavaliers in a high-stakes environment built a 20-point lead. They're up 11 at halftime. Second round coverage on TNT is presented by Wingstop.
Kenny Jack, could you please stuff my peace pipe? What it be like? If it act up, got the piece right. On the small of my back, tuck for these nights. Speeding through the city on the street.
TNT is presented by Wingstop. Beautiful sunset with the Cavaliers taking an 11-point lead into the second half. As we welcome you back courtside, Spiro Thetis, Greg Anthony. We'll hear from Jared here in just a couple of minutes. Looked like without their anchor, the defensive player of the year, Evan Mobley, and they are still at a very high level. What did you see?
They've done so in the shot clock, and notice that paint. The ball does not get into the interior. First half, particularly in that first quarter, they did a great job of constraining the dribble. Their spacing was disruptive, and then the help and recovery on display as well. They just never allowed the Pacers to get comfortable. Look how poor their spacing is here. It allows you to dictate defensively how that possession is going to go, and that was the key, I thought, to getting the Cavs back into rhythm.
So adjustments have been made. Jared working the sidelines for us. Jared, you spoke to Lloyd Pierce, Indiana assistant coach. What did he tell you?
Well, I asked him if there's any concern for Tyrese Halliburton and that injured left wrist. He said, no concern at all. He'll be out there. He'll be fine. However, I have learned during halftime, Halliburton did get that wrist x-rayed. They are waiting for results. Obviously, he's out there, and there appears to be a significantly more tape on that wrist than there was in the first half.
They got that thing taped. I'm sure they worked on it after the x-ray at halftime as Indiana comes up empty on its first trip. Donovan Mitchell putting all kinds of pressure on this defense. Poked away. They keep it alive. Wade from deep. Look at Mitchell just playing on a different planet.
And it's also their ability to dominate that offensive glass. You know, you go back to game 1, they took 15 more shots in that game. It didn't end up in a win, but a similar dynamic here. 12 more shots in that first half for the Cavs.
Indiana gets it back after another turnover, and then it's Turner. Little leaner on the baseline, and Miles Turner now 17 points. Putting together a big night here in game 2. For a beautiful lead, Strus the fake. Mitchell, good close, Nembhard. Pass, Allen missed it. Late whistle, there appear to be contact. They're going to put Allen at the free throw line as Siakam is hit with his second.
And what a luxury for the Cavs to have your best player off the ball and catch it when the defense is in rotation, they're able to create the opportunity for Allen, who gets to the line.
Jared Allen, year 8, 5th year in Cleveland. His first 4 years in Brooklyn, 3 of which were under then Nets head coach Kenny Atkinson. First Cav to start all 82 games this year since the bid in 2018. He's become such a heart and soul piece for this Cavs team that they are leaning on tonight heavily.
And they're going to need him. As you've noticed in this game, too, Ty Jerome, who's had such a terrific season for them, has had some struggles here offensively, not as confident shooting the basketball as Andrew Nembhard knocks down the baseline jumper.
Andrew Nembhard, remember what he did in game 1? Playoff career high, 23 points. He hit 5 threes in that game. And he's got 8 tonight. That is Jerome with a little flick. His first basket and first points of the night.
And that is huge. They are going to need him to be aggressive offensively.
They're going to get Jerome here on a reach-in foul against Neesmith. Rick Carlisle arguing that there should have been contact called earlier.
And this was a miscommunication defensively, creates that opportunity for Ty Jerome. And that should give him a little bit of confidence offensively.
Ty Jerome, who led all NBA reserves in scoring average so far in this postseason, tonight in a starting role, and another turnover forced by the Cavs.
And they are just pushing the Pacers around right now. They've extended their offense, not allowing them to get to their spots and keeping them out of transition.
Indiana, 14 turnovers in the first half, most that they have committed in the first half all season. Jerome trying to get the defender on his hip pocket. Neesmith the leak out. Forceful finish at the other end, and it's back down to 11.
Yeah, and more importantly for the Pacers, a run out, right? Their defense leads to an offensive transition opportunity, and they're able to convert.
Only their 6th fast break point tonight.
And that's a stat, Spiro, as you see Jared Allen continuing to play such a solid game on both ends for the Cavs. But I'm not a big fan of the fast break stats. I try to focus in on how early in the shot clock can you score. If you're scoring in the first 6 to 10 seconds, that to me is in essence a transition opportunity.
Boy, what a feed. Turner, lead pass for Siakam on a dive.
And when they got into their offense, they have been creating high-quality shots with consistency.
Mitchell, +1. He's got 25 for the night.
And what I love about his mindset, we talked about it at the start of this series. He puts tremendous pressure on the rim. He stays in attack mode, not settling for that three-point shot. Of his 20 field goal attempts, 16 of them have been inside the line. That to go along with those 7 assists. He has had an all-around masterful performance thus far.
Donovan Mitchell, 28 years of age, at the height of his powers. Well, they knew that he would have to play a monster game tonight. Short-handed as Turner tees one up, misses short. And Indiana is now 5 of 16 from 3. Just under 4 minutes gone by in the quarter. Mitchell against Neesmith on the wing. This is Jerome, knifes in underneath.
We keep talking about it. Jared Allen just continues. Even when he doesn't get it, he does a great job of spacing the paint, and it forces you defensively to account for him.
Miles Turner cuts it to 14. Can Indiana string?
They're going to a little bit of a zone.
Fisher's going to say block against Neesmith, and he may have had the wind knocked out of him. Hard. A little bit late to get to his feet.
Position, and Donovan Mitchell is a load when he puts his head down and goes into attack mode.
Neesmith still feeling that pain. Here's Jerome. the corner, Mitchell. And he finally connects. The NBA on TNT is brought to you by Royal Caribbean. Come seek. Nightfall downtown Cleveland.
Man, those are some ugly uniforms. Those Cavs uniforms, those were not attractive.
Postseason history between these two franchises over the years. They have been in some postseason fights. And GA, we all knew that this was an intriguing matchup on paper. Everyone knows about Cleveland, of course, #1 seed in the East, one of the greatest seasons in their franchise history. But even despite some struggles tonight, Indiana proving to everyone just how good that they can be.
They are a terrific team. They just have not been able to get into any kind of a rhythm with how they want to play offensively. And quite frankly, defensively, they've been nowhere near as active as we saw in game 1.
Boy, Mitchell, beautiful feed, and Allen sticking with it.
And those offensive rebounds starting to pile up.
Donovan Mitchell starting to carve up this Indiana defense. He's done it as a scorer. Now the playmaker in Mitchell.
And we talked about it, Spiro. His playmaking was going to be important because they've got a lot of guys that are reliant on advantages being created for him. And he has done that here consistently tonight.
Led this Cavs team, as you see the injured pieces on that bench. Hunter, Mobley, and Garland hoping to get all of them back. They do have an extra day of rest, 2 full days off before this thing switches to Indianapolis for game 3 on Friday night. So that'll help their cause.
And there's still a ton of time left in this game, too. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Doing his best Donovan Mitchell impression. My goodness, where did that come from Strus? And this thing has ballooned back to 20. Halliburton bottled up. Neesmith is going to fire. Big shot for the Pacers.
And Halliburton ended up in the seats after that possession.
Actually knocked over a couple of spectators in a collision. Ty Jerome, a little bit short. And Turner, good box out against Allen. Can the Pacers respond? Neesmith dials up another 3, too much. Rebound Wade. Told you at the top, Indiana was 53% from 3 in game 1. No whistle from Tony Brothers, no foul. Mitchell thought he was going to get the call, but it's a turnover.
There was definitely some contact, but they're letting it go on both ends here. Yeah, and I think that's a good no call there. I didn't think the contact is what had him fall, but how about Max Strus taking it? He had bad intentions from the moment he got the ball in his hands.
Max Strus thought he was back on the playground in Chicago with that play. Top in corner pocket 3. So back-to-back triples for the Pacers. First points tonight for Toppin, and suddenly it's a 14-point game.
Yeah, and we talked about this is an explosive offensive team.
Two-man action, Jerome and Okoro, 7 on the timer. Jerome's going to step back and pull. Short. Kept alive. Jerome, another floater. Missed again. And Ty Jerome is now 1 of 12 shooting.
He has really been struggling to find it. You can see he's short on just about everything. And this is a big stretch here right now for the Cavs. No Donovan Mitchell for them to create some offense.
Kenny Atkinson wants to get his offense recalibrated. Their lead down to 14 on TNT.
Time for our Mountain Dew splash play, and Max Strus has been raining threes here. 4 made thus far. And I tell you what, it's not a petty, it's not a Manny, it's a facial to set the tone for this Cavs crowd here tonight.
This place has been electric again. As the Cavaliers, the #1 seed in the East, try to even this thing before it heads to Indy for games 3 and 4, Friday and Sunday, respectfully. Greg, you knew this was going to be an all-hands-on-deck situation for the Cavs, and Max Strus stepping up to the plate when his team needed a big night.
And I tell you what, Daryl, this next 3 minutes or so is critical for the Cavs, and boy, that's a much-needed triple. No Donovan Mitchell. They have had some struggles here with this second unit. That is a great way to kickstart the rest of this quarter.
Boy, Okoro is hurt. Mathurin taking advantage. Looks like it's the left hip of Okoro trying to grit his way through. So a 15-point game with 4. Shepard defending Jerome. Strus pulls up. Rare miss for him, and the rebound corralled by McConnell. Can Indiana take advantage here with Mitchell on the bench? Halliburton on the bench at the other end, and that is Mathurin. Back-to-back baskets, and it's down to 13.
Able to get to the rim and finish up over the shot blocker.
And he just keeps on coming.
And if you're the Cavs, understanding this group on the floor for the Pacers, they don't have a lot of rim protection. You can be aggressive to get to the paint.
McConnell, boy, he beat Jerome, just couldn't finish the layup. So Ty Jerome taking over the reins of the offense here with Mitchell on the bench. Strus fires short. Rebound tracked down by Shepard. Shepard back to McConnell. Open three. Boy, they needed that.
They sure did. That not a great three-point shooter, but he was so open, hard to pass that one up. That was a great pass by Ty Jerome, and Jared Allen has just had a terrific all-around game here tonight.
20 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 blocks for Cleveland. This is Shepard in the corner. Reset, Toppin into the paint. Well played to spin the fade. Tough shot for Toppin.
But if you're the Cavs, those are exactly the kinds of shots you want to see the Pacers make. Tough contested twos and not the wide open rhythm triples or transition opportunities.
Allen's feet in the corner, taken away by Toppin.
They're going to have to give Jared Allen a break. He is laboring right now from fatigue.
Mathurin turns the corner, hip check to the deck. He's going to shoot free throws. With David Guthrie blowing his whistle, it'll be on Allen, his third.
And they do a great job of emptying out that weak side on those pick and rolls. And Allen, again, no rim protection for this second unit from the Pacers. And the crowd are going to give him a nice round of applause. He was terrific.
So delay of game, second delay of game tonight against Cleveland, so it results in a technical free throw situation. So they pull everyone off the paint. And now Benedict Mathurin will get his 2 free throws on the initial call. There's Tyrese Halliburton. We heard the report from Jared earlier with that left wrist being retaped. As we take a look at our FanDuel Live point spread for tonight's game, a look at where it started and where it is currently, with Cleveland holding this 14-point lead. GA, if you're Rick Carlisle, what are you telling your players right now with 2:12 left in the quarter?
We just got to chip away. And again, this 2:12, we talked about it. You know, you feel like it's a 20-point game, but it's not. And this Pacers team is explosive as they can be. They've gotten better with each quarter offensively. They seem to have found their rhythm. They just haven't been able to get out in transition. And There is a ton of time left here for the Pacers.
It's so great to have you with us here in Cleveland. Spiro Ditas, Greg Anthony, Jared Greenberg, our producer Aaron Banks, our director Brent Christan, and rest of our TNT crew. Game 2 Eastern Semi. Donovan Mitchell. The offensive artistry of Donovan Mitchell. Just breathtaking.
Yeah, they had a mismatch there because of the cross match, and Mitchell able to take advantage.
Mathurin starting to cook.
He has given them a nice charge here in this quarter.
Here comes Mitchell, but it's a scary sight. And contact.
How good is Donovan Mitchell in all night? He has stayed in attack mode, but balanced it with his playmaking. And there you can see just going with that full force, takes the hit and the hang time, the elevation and the finish. And a little flex.
Donovan Mitchell right now, otherworldly. Misses the free throw. Gonna get a lane violation. So Mitchell's going to get another chance. GA, we wondered how Mitchell would handle this tonight without his 3 teammates. No Mobley, no Hunter, no Garland. There's been a balance to his game. The scoring, the assists. It's been magnificent to watch.
And his teammates have responded, right? Dean Wade's given him quality minutes. Merrill knocks down his first 3. Jared Allen has had a monster game. So they all responded the way you'd want to see a team that's the 1 seed respond when they hit their first bit of adversity here in the postseason.
Mathurin. It's the old heat check, not that time. So down to $1:20 left in the quarter. Mitchell with 24 of his 34 that have come in the last 2 quarters of this game. And here he comes again. Well, you see him kind of wave off and flail the arms at Bryant. It's starting to get a little spicy here in Cleveland.
Yeah, and he forced that switch there. He attacked Bryant earlier. You see the great Myles Garrett in here taking in the action. Yeah, easy call there.
Myles Garrett saying, this is my kind of party.
Yeah, sign me up, coach. Put me in.
The Stars are out again here in Cleveland. And Donovan Mitchell, he always is getting them their money's worth.
And I like the adjustment Kenny Atkinson made, because a lot of times in the breather, but he could sense that this Pacers team was trying to make a run here, extending those that lead intact, not allowing.
Newly minted NBA Coach of the Year. Trying to push the right buttons for the Cavs. Down to a minute left in the quarter. McConnell. This is Walker. Aaron pass. Mitchell on a break. Wade from deep. A little bit of a push. Toppin on a leak out boy. Beautiful feed, and then it's Toppin with a sledgehammer.
That's a huge basket there, just when it looked like this thing could get out of hand.
Mitchell steps back. Sam Merrill crashes the offensive glass.
How good has that supporting cast been? Mitchell's been brilliant, but they've gotten great contributions from just about everybody who stepped on the court.
14 from Merrill. This is Jarris Walker. Wild miss from deep.
Yeah, this is not the kind of offense, if you're Rick Carlisle, you want to see from the Pacers right now.
Pacers desperately trying to keep him off the board here. 6.3 seconds left. Penalty situation, so Isaac Okoro is going to shoot free throws.
Yeah, they just forgot about him. You see Mathurin got caught looking up at the rim there, and Merrill just sneaks in timely there with the offensive rebound.
14 from Merrill, 20 for Jared Allen. Dean Wade has chipped in with those 7 rebounds.
Strus had 18 thus far. Like, they've gotten it from everybody.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Be kind to yourself and each other and give total health a shot. Learn more at NBA.com/total health. 16-point game. Down to 6.3 seconds now left in the quarter. As Rick Carlisle makes a couple of changes. Aaron Nesmith back on the floor and reinserts Halliburton. Tells you about the importance of this possession right here. 4 seconds. Halliburton sets up Nesmith, corner three. Massive shot for the Pacers.
How about the decision of Carlisle to get Halliburton in to create that triple to get a little momentum for the Pacers here heading to the fourth.
Indiana now 9 of 25 from deep, 36% clip after they shot it at nearly 55% in game one. The 2020 NBA playoffs are presented by Google. Coverage on TNT is presented by Wingstop as everyone settles in for the fourth quarter. A 20-point Cleveland lead down to 14. Donovan Mitchell, GA trying to will them to their first win of the series.
And he got a lot of help from his friends. And moments ago, our Garrett Greenberg caught up with the coach of the year, Kenny Atkinson.
Well, Coach, I know you got a long way to go here, but how do you explain this score with 3 of your key guys out?
Just our collective spirit. We're playing with great force, great energy, playing together. Love how we're playing.
Everyone on planet Earth knew that Donovan Mitchell would be the focal point of your offense tonight. How is he still able to overcome Indiana trying to lock him up?
You know Donovan, he knows the moment. He feels the moment. He knew he had to step up tonight. Now he's got to finish the deal.
Good luck, Coach.
Thanks, Jared.
All right, Jared, how do these coaches now handle the rotations? Kenny Atkinson, his team injury depleted as Mathurin wanted a foul, no whistle. Atkinson has Javonte Green on the floor. Greg has been forced to go a little bit deeper into his bench, missing those 3 integral pieces. No Mobley, no Garland, no Hunter. Jerome probing and left it short.
But Coach Atkinson knows he's got a lot of guys who've had opportunities over the course of this season. They understand what's expected of them. They're confident in their abilities. And having said all of that, there's still a lot of time in this game.
Officials are going to get tied. Jerome, can Indiana solve this Cavs defense, Greg, that has been so good tonight? And really a testament to what Kenny Atkinson has unlocked with this team, with his coaching staff. Again, a team that won 47 games last year, no major roster changes. But the way that this team has defended, everyone talks about the offense. Their defense this year was next level.
And it's been that way here tonight. They've taken away transition. You haven't seen as many runouts. You've seen the Pacers have to play a lot later in the shot clock. And I think that's been the key. The Pacers aren't built to win one-on-one battles, to play ISO basketball. That's not the strength of their team. The strength of their team is their spacing and their ball movement. And the Cavs have been able to negate that with their ball pressure and point of attack defense.
Max Strus, one of the hot hands tonight, 18 points into the corner. Wade, now the reset, 7 to shoot. Strus taking Siakam, steps back, that's a long 2. But Green had it, just couldn't squeeze it. Pacers looking to push. Nembhard trying to get into the paint. Look at Merrill. Knocks it loose. Here comes Strus up. Missed it point blank.
I think Turner might have got a piece of that to alter it.
This is now the breakneck pace that the Pacers want. Trying to make the tempo faster as Turner leans up and in. He's got 21, an 11-point game.
Yeah, but that is a little faster, and what it happens is when you can speed up the game, you create cross matches, and that was an example of it.
Boy, Ty Jerome missed a couple of those chippies tonight. Loose ball, Merrill. Merrill gets another chance, and then Halliburton. Out Mathurin, and he hits the reverse. And here come the Pacers. Here in Cleveland. Time for our TNT game break presented by PayPal. As soon as this one is over, we will get you to game one. Golden State and Minnesota. What a matchup that is going to be. Steph, Anthony Edwards getting themselves warmed up. And we will be watching Brian Anderson, Stan Van Gundy, Lauren Jabara will be working the sidelines. And that is coming up next right here on TNT. Meantime, Indiana GA was down 14 at the end of the third. 8 straight points. Donovan Mitchell on the bench. And Kenny Atkinson feeling the urgency, wasted no time.
Yeah, I think that is absolutely the right move because Cavs right now struggling to create offense.
Allen, Halliburton knocked it loose. Boy, tough break for the Pacers. Loose ball right to Allen and Mitchell underneath. Errant pass. And so the Cavs have missed their first 6 shots to begin the fourth. And right there, their 9th turnover of the night. Early stages, fourth quarter. Fisher's going to get Siakam. That was a tough pass for him to catch. 3rd personal on Siakam.
Yeah, he didn't hold Mitchell off there. I didn't love the post-entry angle on that play there from the Pacers, and Mitchell able to fight over and get the deflection to force the turnover.
Cleveland Cavaliers, 64 wins this season. 2nd most in franchise history. But boy, they can feel the stakes tonight. Desperately trying to avoid an 0-2 series deficit with this thing moving on to Indy for games 3 and 4. Off the Mitchell miss, here's Siakam twisting, turning, unable to convert.
And that's a lot to do with the strength of Donovan Mitchell. Didn't allow for Siakam to create the leverage on that possession. That play there and the finish by Allen.
Exquisite find by Okoro, and Allen's got 22. Halliburton +1. How did he finish that shot?
Now this is more what we saw from the Pacers in game 1. Even after a make, tempo, pushing the ball up. You saw that possession. He comes up laboring just a little bit. The crowd doesn't like it, but there was some contact there, no question. And what you're looking at, you can see how he gets knocked off his line, and that's what the officials are looking at.
Again, anyone who watches Indiana knows that when Halliburton's not scoring a ton of points, their win percentage has dipped significantly. Halliburton now just 11 points. Can he ratchet up the scoring here in the fourth? You see him still grimacing in pain as that left wrist taped. Hurt that wrist in the first half off a collision. Mitchell elevates. Back rim, no. Rebound, Halliburton. 8-point game as we hit the 8-minute mark. Turner extending, and Mathurin on a stick back.
And this is what we talked about. Now you can just sense how much faster and aggressive the Pacers are playing right now.
Indiana has taken the momentum, and they've changed the tempo of this game in their favor. As Tony Brothers going to get Nemhard here, trying to fight through the Allen pick.
We talked about how Mathurin has been a difference maker here in the second half. They're just an explosive, athletic attack on the offensive glass.
Mathurin had 11 in game 1. He now has 17 off the bench tonight. And Mitchell was out of bounds. Boy, what a ragged offensive start in the quarter for the Cavs. They were up 14 at the end of the third, and we got a 6-point game. Boy, something about this Pacers team. They start to smell blood in the waters as Halliburton misses a floater.
Yeah, and it's really about style of game. Right now, they're getting back to playing their game. They're dictating the tempo here to start this fourth.
Mitchell splits 2 off the bounce, swallowed up, and he is whacked. Boy, Kenny Atkinson turns, buries his face in his hands. He could not bear to watch his star crash to the deck.
So there wasn't a ton of contact on that. Miles Turner wanted Rick Carlisle to challenge that. I think.
Let's check in with Jared.
Guys, yesterday after Cavs practice, Kenny Atkinson talking about game one said that he didn't feel like the Pacers were dirty or intentional, but those plays that ultimately hurt DeAndre Hunter and Evan Mobley, he said it crossed the line of physicality. Then he doubled down on those comments in his pregame press conference. Coach Atkinson saying that it was excessive in nature, not intentional or dirty. And we as a league, Atkinson said, have to decide what that excessive line is. We want to make sure our players are available to play in the playoffs. Obviously, he's got 3 key guys that are right now, 2 of them injured in game 1.
And Jared, we all are big fans of Kenny Atkinson. I didn't see it that way. I didn't think that the physicality in that first game was excessive by any means. I just thought that the Cavs, I should say the Pacers, were just the more physical and aggressive team.
Benedict Mathurin has been magnificent off the bench. He's going to be whistled here in the backcourt. This is the closest Indiana has been since the 4-minute mark of the first quarter.
And they're going to get a technical foul now on the Pacers.
Brothers looking towards the Indiana bench and said, enough.
Yeah, there's been a lot of chirping, which is clearly catches him in the face there. Again, not intentional, but you're generally.
And you can see Tony Brothers still just telling them everyone settle down.
And I'm not sure if that was the bench that got the technical.
So apparently it was a delay of game, second against Indiana. And both teams have been hit with a technical in that category tonight. Mitchell forcing the issue and is going to get himself back to the line.
And that's really been their offense here of late, is Mitchell being aggressive, putting the onus on the officials with his attack.
Well, Max Strus took a shot to the face a couple of minutes ago. They may have seen some blood. See the athletic trainers working on him. So the injury timeout situation here with 6:43 left. And this thing's starting to get even more tense in Cleveland. Everything at stake tonight for the Cavaliers.
And really a lot at stake as well if you're the Pacers, because you can seize complete control. And he clearly caught a thumb to the nostril. That is never fun. And that's kind of what the playoffs are about. It's going to get more physical, and it's really about how you handle the physicality and the adversity. Can you control your emotions? Can you stay on point in terms of your game plan?
And it's just fascinating, Gia. You got 2 great coaches tonight. Rick Carlisle, who of course has been doing it for so many years, NBA championship winning coach in Dallas. Kenny Atkinson, who's finally getting his due now as the new coach of the year in the league. The chess match in a 7-game series in the NBA playoffs. It's such a different level with the staffs, no back-to-backs anymore. The level of scouting, it's just so intense.
And it builds. That's the thing about the postseason, because you know each other so well. You're not tricking anybody, and because of that knowledge and the knowing of tendencies, it allows the game to get even more physical. And that's why it's so important to control your emotions. They're going to get a hold there on Okoro. And as a player now, you've got to understand the officials have adjusted. They're calling it a little more tighter here in this 4th quarter, trying to make sure they can keep control and not have this thing get out of hand.
13 foul against the Cavs. Indiana is already over the limit. Well, still 6 and change left in regulation. Nembhard steps back, fires, rims out. Nesmith sneaks in. That cuts it to 6. But keep in mind what Indiana has done as a comeback team. Remember, they were down 20 in the clincher in the previous round against the Bucks. That miraculous win in overtime. Okoro, it slipped right through his fingertips.
And right now, the Cavs, the confidence starting to wane just a little bit offensively here.
Third turnover in the quarter by the Cavs. Turner underneath. Strus. Come on. Boy, D'ing up in a tough spot.
That was a heck of a rotation there by Strus. Just got Turner outside of his comfort zone just enough to affect the shot.
Here comes Jerome trying to turn the corner. Bump to the deck. It's loose. Bodies all over the place. Mitchell, who touched it last? And it belongs to the Cavs.
And that's a huge play because they're saying that the Pacers got possession. Shot clock reset there. They're going to have to take a look at that.
Officials will take a look. The Cleveland Cavaliers, can they hold on TNT? Back here in Cleveland, the officials went to the replay monitor to determine and confirm that it will indeed be Cleveland ball. However, instead of 22 on the shot clock, they deem no possession for the Cavs, so they'll have just 2 seconds to shoot.
Important here if you're the Cavs to get a shot off.
Inbound, Strus elevates, short. Fight for it, Siakam. So Max Strus now 4 of 11 from deep. He's cooled off after that hot start. Nembhard, two-man action, pulls up, short, offensive rebound. Turner gets it back. Boy, misses a couple of chippies.
And he's just got to be a little more patient there. You've got a huge size advantage. A lot of times, though, in your mind, you're expecting Allen to be there on the attack.
Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell, his 27th shot tonight. He's got 42 for Cleveland. Nembhard, a little bit of contact, and they're going to give him the basket and a chance at 3. Gigantic play by Nembhard.
And Atkinson's looking to see if they're going to challenge that call there. Looks like they're not.
Boy, it looked like Guthrie was a little bit unsure. Looked at his officiating colleagues, Tony Brothers and Nick Bookert, and they're going to stick with the call. Potential 3-point play for Nembhard.
That is a huge play there by Nembhard to get the finish as well.
And boy, Cleveland team, GA, that was playing with such supreme confidence earlier. Feel the nervousness in this building.
And part of it is for this group, you know, when you're this shorthanded, so Kenny Atkinson doesn't have him in the game here down the stretch, and they're looking
challenge here, and they give him the thumbs down.
Yeah.
Every NBA coach now, they have those monitors behind the bench.
And I think it's smart. There's just so much time left here. It's a 2-possession game. Your defense is going to be set.
Here comes Strus, a little bit of contact, and he lays it in. That'll get it to 7, and Strus has 20. A short-handed Cavaliers team trying to will themselves over the finish line. Nembhard looking for some daylight. Turner underneath, a spin and the lay-in finish.
And that time he took his time. He was able to see where Allen was before he went into his move. Great job finishing there.
Miles Turner putting together a big night. 23 points. Here comes Okoro into the paint. Nembhard trying to tie him up. Nick Bookert says reach in. Indiana is in the penalty, and free throws for Isaac Okoro.
How about the attack there? That's what we call KYP. You got to know the personnel on the floor. And then great pass there by Nembhard for the deuce.
What are both of these coaches, GA, thinking about here? with 3:45 left.
Well, if you're Kenny Atkinson from a defensive standpoint, you just want to make sure the Pacers are having to shoot twos. You don't want to have any breakdowns defensively where you're creating opportunities for rhythm threes. And if you're the Pacers defensively, you've got to figure out a way to not foul and try to keep the ball out of Donovan Mitchell's hands and force somebody else to beat you.
Nesmith corner three, and he buries it.
And that is the one thing, if you're the Cavs, you wanted to avoid. You've done such a good job of making the Pacers take tough twos. That time just a breakdown defensively.
Nesmith with his 5th triple of the night. Mitchell, he will not stop.
So the two things he said you wanted to avoid, right? Don't give up open rhythm threes, particularly in the corner if you're the Cavs. And if you're the Pacers, don't allow Donovan Mitchell to get to the rim.
Halliburton, tough contested layup in traffic. They come up empty. And we hit the 3-minute mark left here in Cleveland. Mitchell against Nesmith, who's been brilliant with his defense, and he comes up with the theft. Cavs scurrying back, Turner into the corner. This is Nembhard from deep.
I'll tell you what, this has been a terrific game. I mean, and if you're both teams, even in the loss, if you're the Pacers, you're going to feel better about how your group has rallied and responded. Holy cow.
That first step of Mitchell's, it's just almost indefensible. As Nesmith tried to get out of his way, tried to leap over him. Yeah, Mitchell's going to shoot free throws.
It's the step and then his ability to create the leverage with his strength. His foundation is so strong. And then there's nothing malicious about that. Donovan somewhat lost his balance there on that attack.
As we take a little peek at the upcoming playoff schedule, TNT doubleheader tomorrow, Knicks and Celtics. And Denver trying to take what would be a shock 2-0 lead in that series. NBA.com or visit the NBA app.
Donovan Mitchell, he's only played 34 minutes, but because of the way he's had to play, it's going to feel like 44 because he has had to work so hard to create his offense. But then defensively, oftentimes he's getting switched on bigs, having to guard the post. There's a lot being asked of their franchise player.
His 16th and 17th free throws of the night. And this place is rocking. Nembhard into the paint. Turner, good close by Strus, trying to turn the corner. Goes glass, missed it, but Max Strus playing some defense.
Strus, but I tell you what, Jared Allen on the ball with Nembhard also. A lot of times it's the initial point of attack defense that sets up a defensive possession. How about the defense there by Miles Turner to force the difficult shot.
So Turner returns the favor. Here comes Siakam like a runaway freight train. And contact. And Pascal Siakam, the All-Star, can cut it to 4 with $1:52 left.
He has been quiet all night. Only his 8th field goal attempt, but boy, was that a big one. With a chance here to cut it to 4.
Pascal Siakam selected to his 3rd All-Star game this season. First as a Pacer in what was his first full season in Indiana. Critical miss. 5-point game with 1:46 left. Mitchell up high and more free throws.
And you can see what I'm talking about. Typically how the Cavs play. He'll get a certain percentage of his shots that are created for him. Tonight, everything is him having to go against great defense and create his own opportunities. And there's still a lot of time here to go.
And you just see him in those little moments, dead ball situations, just trying to take those deep breaths. This has taken every ounce of conditioning that he has, all his powers, as one of the offensive stars in the sport.
And you know, if you think he's going to take 30 shots, throw attempts. And again, generally for him to get free throw attempts, there's going to be a lot of contact.
Mitch. 6-point game. We're down to 90 seconds. Masterful play by Halliburton.
Just a terrific job of being patient, not forcing the three, understanding there's still a ton of time here. They just barely get it in. You can even see Mitchell was too tired to even run back and help.
Or he's gassed. Both teams are out of fouls. 1:14 left. Mitchell shadow double team, gets it to Strus from deep. Another reminder coming up next on TNT, Game 1, West Semis, Golden State, Jimmy Butler, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. What a fascinating matchup. Brian Anderson, Stan Van Gundy, Lauren Jabara will have the call.
That last possession, I mean, it's a heck of a shot by Max Strus, but Donovan Mitchell's ability to beat the double team and deliver that pass in rhythm before the contest can get there, that's just impressive and indicative of the kind of night Spider Mitchell has had.
Donovan Mitchell telling that training staff to get the ice bath ready. Can they hold them off here? Final 66 seconds. Halliburton chiseling to the cup. That'll cut it to 5.
They got to get the ball
63 seconds. Kenny Atkinson is going to take a timeout. Again, both teams are out of fouls. Let that drama build a little bit more here in Cleveland. You're watching the NBA playoffs on TNT. Final minute, 3 seconds of regulation. The Cleveland Cavaliers, as desperate as you could imagine, the 1 seed down already in the series, trying to avoid that 0-2 start before this thing shifts to Indy for games 3 and 4. Both teams are out of fouls. GA, what are we thinking about here for the final 63?
I don't think that you're going to foul if you're the Pacers. You're going to try to get a steal. You don't want to take a chance and put them on the free throw line. There's enough time in a 2-possession game to play it out.
They get it into the hands of Mitchell, and now Siakam is called for the bump. And that's not what they wanted.
No, Rick Carlisle did not want a foul there. That's just not a smart play, because at that point, again, there's enough time for you to play this thing out. And you can see it's almost the reason you call it. It looks like he's intentionally trying to foul, but that's not a smart play there by Siakam.
20th and 21st free throws of the night for Mitchell. He's 16 of 20.
He has just been off the chart special tonight. When you think about what they needed from him to be able to kind of even this thing up potentially here if they can close it out. 30 shots, 20 free throw attempts. Incredible. And again, defensively, he has had a lot of huge possessions for this group, but collectively, they've done a great job of getting timely plays from just about everybody they put on the floor.
Boy, when you consider what's at stake, you can put this up with anything he's done in his career. Siakam contact, boy, nearly got it to drop. That'll put Siakam at the line, 48 seconds. It's on Allen, his 4th. So a chance for Indy to get it down to 5.
And I would say if he can make both of these, you can probably still play the possession out. There's still enough time in a 2-possession game.
Kenny Atkinson is going to make a change. Ty Jerome in, Dean Wade will sit.
He's going to come in with ball handling to deal with the pressure. They don't want to call a timeout here. They're going to want to have to try to get it in, and they know that the Pacers are going to be pressing.
And just keep in mind what Indiana did in that clincher against Milwaukee. Look at that stick back. Naismith coming with some serious fire. And Donovan Mitchell is still down.
A lot of concern right now for Donovan Mitchell, but how about Aaron Naismith coming in for that offensive rebound? That was a huge play.
Or just kind of collapsed, his body crunching beneath him. Naismith, just an unfortunate situation with Naismith coming down. He's got to have a place to land. As Naismith's play cuts it to 5, and now the standing ovation from Mitchell.
And the issue there, you've got to be aware of guys crashing from above the three-point line on free throws. Just a mental breakdown there by the Cavs, allowing that opportunity for Naismith.
The ruling on the floor is offensive basket interference.
The play is under review.
Official review is presented by Zoom. We're happy.
So Tony Brothers says offensive interference. So that would potentially take the basket away.
Well, that's clearly outside of the cylinder there, so they'll reverse that. That basket will count. Initially, I thought that they were calling a foul on. And the reason you call that is because if you don't call it, you're not able to reverse it there. So that's an easy fix.
The only thing they're looking at is the potential offensive interference. It clearly looked like it was off the cylinder. So for the moment, they've taken the basket off the board. Oh, this is going to be a 5-point game. And in the second half.
He's really been so huge, such a catalyst for them on a night where your best player, Halliburton, really hasn't played horribly, but not having the kind of impact you would have expected. And Naismith has just been a monster for you now, with an opportunity to potentially steal one here down the stretch.
It looks like Tony Brothers has made a decision.
After review, the ball is outside the cylinder when it was caught and put back in the basket. Therefore, the basket is good. It will be Cleveland ball under the basket with 47.9 on the game clock.
So this will be a 5-point game. Look at Naismith, a crash.
And you can see just Jerome and Mitchell there, both just falling asleep. And Naismith understanding after that first miss, there's a chance that Siakam's going to miss that. Just great anticipation by the young man to get the deuce.
Boy, high stakes here in Cleveland. This is all you want in the NBA playoffs. 47 seconds, contact, Mitchell and Naismith, offensive.
And they may have to look at that. And looks like Donovan is. They may look at that for a flagrant, Daryl.
Boy, Naismith beating Mitchell to the spot, and both players are still down. Now the swing at the elbow, so the officials are again going to go to the replay monitor. And Gia, you talk about a massive potential call here. If this thing is elevated to a flagrant, you got free throws
and the ball
and possession.
5-point game here, and still a ton of time. Not to mention, on top of all that, Mitchell laboring right now.
What do you think?
Well, listen, there's clear that the contact's above.
Remember, the officials will say that intent is...
No, it has nothing to do with the intent.
Has nothing to do with it.
Listen, it is a basketball play. That's, you know, he's not swinging his arms disconnected from his body, but I would lean towards this being a flagrant.
Got a good veteran crew here with Tony Brothers, David Guthrie, Nick Booker, Brian Forte in the replay center. And all eyes right now on these replays.
After review, as Mitchell turns, it's a basketball move. Therefore, it's not a flagrant foul. It's an offensive foul on Mitchell. It will be Indiana ball on the side.
And Rick Carlisle is pretty livid there. Like it was a basketball play. I do agree with that part, but it doesn't necessarily negate whether or not it can be called a flagrant.
Good news for the Pacers. It was an offensive foul against Mitchell, so a turnover. So the Pacers have it 45.9. What is Rick Carlisle drawn up here with the Pacers down 5? Again, both teams are in the penalty.
And no Mitchell in the game right now.
Mitchell is on the Cleveland bench. Halliburton against Allen, who extends his defense. Halliburton on the attack. Allen gets him from the back. Last touch by the Cavs, 13 to shoot.
And that was an incredible play there by Jared Allen. Halliburton did everything he wanted there, and still, how about that extension right at the end to come up with the block. 13 on the shot clock.
Here we go. Inbound Halliburton, and here we go. 10 seconds. Nembhard on the wing. Siakam attacks and lays it in. It's a one-possession game, 27.5. Kenny Atkinson's going to get a timeout to get Mitchell back in the game. His final timeout here in Cleveland. 3-point game on TNT. If you're Rick Carlisle.
I do. Oh, my goodness.
There's a steal. Nembhard. 25 seconds. Unbelievable.
And really, the Cavs have struggled the entire game getting the ball inbound.
Halliburton sizes up Jerome, and here he comes to the cup. Contact. And Halliburton is going to shoot free throws with a chance to cut it to 1 with 12.4 left.
You got to be careful. There was some thought that there may be a challenge here, but that challenge would take away your last free throw. Boy, I tell you.
They don't have a timeout, Kenny Atkinson, so he can't challenge.
No, that's a great call. And they've got to, again, get this basketball in. It's going to be a one-point game. You know you're going to get fouled. If you're the Cavs, your guys have got to do a much better job of getting open.
Misses. Halliburton the rebound. 9 seconds. They do have a timeout. Carlisle's going to let him play. Halliburton steps back and hits. Tyrese Halliburton trying to take Cleveland's heart. And it is over. The Indiana Pacers in a Game 2 stunner.
Believable. I'm still in shock, partner. They just, everything that had to go right for the Pacers down the stretch. He misses his free throw. And then they get cross-matched here. A game, and how about Mr. Halliburton?
Injured his left wrist. His name into Pacers playoff lore with one of the all-time shots to give the Pacers a command lead in the series with the next 2 in Indianapolis. They were down 14 entering the 4th, and they come all the way back. For GA, for Jared, Spirodidis saying good night from Cleveland.
и напев, заглушенный июнем затаенный, затронет тиши усыпленный. Есть в напевах твоих сокровенных роковая о гибели весть. Есть проклятие заветов священных, поругание счастья есть. И такая влекущая сила, что готов я отвертиться молвой, будто ангелов ты не сводила, соблазняя своей красотой. И когда ты смеешься над верой, над тобой загорается вдруг тот неяркий пурпурово-серый и когда-то мой виденный круг.
Oh, heaven knows, men know that I love you so much, Jamila. Ooh, yes I do. You left my world and left me so cold. Now I'm wondering how I'm gonna get you back. Hey, nothing about to make it right. Jamila kiyafe mun. Na dawo gida ban ga Jamila ba. Na dawo gida ban ji muryanta ba. Hey, wayo, a neman mun Jamila. Jamila, don Allah gida gida, babu abin da zai raba mu har abada. Jamila, zuciya na ɓaciwa. Gida gida, gida gida, gida gida. Ooh, no matter what people do or say, this love will never die. If I knew I never hurt you so bad, drinking so much, too much women.